Dave here. How are you? Today is the 29th of August 2021. It's a little cool up here. We have been raining this morning and now it's kind of backed off. So hopefully it'll be a nice day. All right, enough of the weather report. Let's get into it. Today on the show, we're going to concentrate on flattening boards. Now I'm going to start a project next week. Well, actually flattening the boards is actually the real beginning of the project. But it's something that when people go to a timber supplier, a merchant, they will buy pre-dressed and jointed, all that kind of stuff. The wood will be finished, ready for them. And there's very little need to do what I'm going to do unless you are a fine woodworker, better than me, and you really want to make sure things are super precise. Now the timber I'm going to be using today, I've had for about 20 years. It's been up in my timber rack up here. And it's left over from when I was in cottage construction. I used to use 10x2 cypress pine for staircase materials, and I used to build all the staircases. Now, that has been sitting up there. It's seasoned 20 years, it's brittle, and it's also going to be, it's moved around and twisted. So we need to flatten those boards out because the project we're going to do is a very, very large table. It's going to be 2.4 meters long, 1.2 meters wide. 5 of these dirty big planks are going to be the top. The legs I'll mill out of offcuts from it. So it's like this stuff here. This is an offcut, believe it or not. This will be someone's major project. So anyway, we'll shape the legs and braces and everything. And I'm yet to design the whole thing completely, but I've got my head around pretty much all of what I want to do. So we're going to go through 3 different processes or 3 different ways of flattening a board. We'll use a jointer, we'll use a thickness planer, and I'll also use the CNC. Now, the reason I'm going to use the CNC is because these boards are 2.4 meters long. The tabletop will weigh 100 kilograms on its own when it's finished. So 5 into that, 20 kilograms each, and 2.4 meters long. A little bit awkward for me to handle on my own through the thicknesser. So hence, I have the machine there. I will use it. A lot of people like to see CNC work, a lot of people don't. So I'm going to try and cover all of that. There's other ways of doing it as well. We may do a little bit with Arthur's hand plane. I've got his jack plane there, the timber one, and we might go through that and use winding sticks if we get time. So, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at one of the viewers' projects. Paul Mumford has made a really, really nice box. And we'll have a look at that about halfway through the show. I hope you're all well and you've had a good week and COVID isn't getting you down too much. We're still in lockdown. Never-ending story, but I'm glad we're doing it. Hopefully we'll get over it. All right, I'm going to have a quick read down here. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Lynette, Peter. Thanks for saying that the video is all good. That's great. Nathan, Dave, rocking the blue shirt, I see. Yep. Monday. Ash, morning, how are you? All right, now the first way we're going to flatten timber is just by using a jointer. That's going straight over the top of the machine, and I will bring my camera from out there beside the CNC into here. Good morning, Paul. Speak of the devil, you're the person that we're going to be having a look at your box. Now, what's the style? Pardon me. What's that Japanese style? Is it Japanese? I think it's Kaminko or something like that. Don't pull that out. I nearly lost the cable. All right, I've got this camera being set up back here. Lovely. I'll come down this way. I'm going to check. Okay, Nathaniel, how are you? Let me see what the other camera is going to be like. I'm going to tip it up just a little bit. Give me a second. I see my girl is there as well. How's your hair this morning, baby? Hasn't it all fall out? I'm a bit cheeky, aren't I? All right, I'm going to switch over to the other camera. I'll find my eye mask first. Here we go. Now, is this something that's going to interest you? I'm asking this question because I've done a couple of things differently. I released a video yesterday morning, a very short one. It's only 2 minutes long or so, and it was basically how to anchor T-track into my bench or onto any jig that you've made. And it's the best way that I've found. So I share those little things. I can do that in the future if you want. Just let me know it down the side here or after the show in the comments section. Please add things to the comments section below, because I don't feel like such a Nigel No Friends if you put comments down there. Okay, where are we up to? Hello, Matt. You're in lockdown too. 80 cases, yeah, it's going crazy. Hair from Salon David. Yep. Is that a new airline hanging from the ceiling? Don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know what it is. It might be my lamp. There you go. All right, these on. I'm going to switch it. Oh no, out there, out here, that is my dust extraction for the CNC. Switch the cameras over here. All right. Don't forget the wood, David. Now this piece of cypress, as I said, is old and gnarly. And I'm very curious to see how my thickness jointer planer is going to go. Look at all of this. That's how to find the correct direction for grain there. I've got no idea. It's all over the place. And look at the other side. Now, if my jointer can fix that, I'm going to be super impressed. So this way is the basic way. Now I've got the guard on there at the moment. I'm going to slide the timber over the top with the machine turned off, obviously. And I'm going to look for the rocking points. Okay, so at the moment, it's up the wrong way. I've got to dish this way. So I've got to flip the board over. I'm going to move this so I can get to the timber quicker. Tip her over. And put it on. And now it's not seesawing anymore. It's going to rock diagonally. That is touching, and this corner back here is touching. So there's a diagonal happening here, which means I have to take half the rock off this corner. So when I push this down, you can see there's a gap under here of around about 3 millimeters. So as I'm pushing the timber onto the jointer across the infeed table, I will favour this corner with my push block, like that. I won't push down on here, I'll push down on that one, hold it down. It will take timber off the underside here, and as I'm coming through, I will hold this side like so. Get the other holder, these things, get them, these are brilliant. So I'm going to push the timber over like so. I'm going to take 1 millimeter per pass, and I'll make sure that I've got this other dust extraction port shut. It is 1 millimeter a pass, and a lot of people would be tempted just to leave that guard out of the way. I'm going to be good and slide it back over there, and it's just going to be reaffirming that the blades are there. Now as I push the timber on, I'll hold this down, feed it in until I can get this on the outfeed like so. All right. The other style that's got the mutton chop blade guard, I would just be holding it here consistently. So I'll feed it in from here. When it gets to the other side of the guard, I'll start. All right. Now, pardon me. One of the other things, I did have some people say that the sound on my videos is really quiet. Until I get a new microphone, there's not much I can do about it. There's a little bit of dust just here. So turn it up whilst I'm talking. When I start the machine, you may want to turn it down a little bit. This helical head machine doesn't make a lot of noise though. It's very, very nice. And remember, it's hooked up to my automatic blast gate. So you watch how much comes out. This is a 10-inch wide board. This is huge. Back here and drop these down over me. And these do work with glasses, people have asked. So there you go. Turn her on. This one over here ready. Wait for the Dusty to start up. Now, the reason it's not cutting at the moment is because of that hump. Remember? Keep it pushed down here. I've got the end hooking over. She's starting to cut again. It's cutting on this side. Now I'm going to show you where we're at this stage. So you can see this corner, it's been worked, and down the bottom, it's been worked there. We'll start her up again, go again. This is going to take about 3 or 4 passes, maybe a bit more, but you'll see how it goes. Now it's actually going to rest on that part that we've flattened out, so it's going to be easier this time. Hear that? It's cutting a little bit longer as well. Cut feet. Let's have a look at that. It's not looking too bad, is it? A few more passes and we're going to have some really nice timber. Grab that. Beautiful. Let's have a look at that. There we go. Now that is a lot different to that. So what I'm going to do now is, because it's flat, I'm sure it's flat. That's beautiful. Flat as. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to put it through the thicknesser underneath. But before I do that, I may put it over the edge and joint the edge. Lower that down. Yeah, like that. Now I can use this face as a reference off the fence and joint this edge here. So remember what this looks like. And because it's tall, I don't need to worry about using the push blocks. was a knot that just got caught on the end, which is no big drama. All right, there you go. Doesn't look too bad at all. Now, as I said, we're going to run it through the thickness underneath. I'll tip this down a little. All right. Now, this is underneath here is a thickness planer. So how to access that is, we'll slide this back over there, push that over so it's out of the way. Pull those out, lift the head or the table, and then we flip this over like so. Down here is two things. This is a clamp, obviously. This is the crank to raise the table up. Now that timber is 50 odd millimeters. There's a dial here. I'm at 140, 130, 120, 110, 100, 80, 70, 60, 50 millimeters and a half. This engages the power drive. So there's two rollers under there that are going to pull it through past the cutter head. I'm going to quickly measure the thickness of that. Where are you? I'll have a quick read on the way past. We'll come back to this camera, having a quick read. Cole, morning Cole, how are you? What are your thoughts about power feeders? John, I've never used a power feeder for pushing stuff over a router table or past a table saw, but the power feed in the thickness planer, yeah, definitely love it. All right, good morning Ian. It's bloody nice timber. Okay, so back to the other camera, and you can see what we're going to do down there. I'll tip that up just a little bit. All right, measuring this stuff, it is 45. So let's take, well, I'm going to give it a run at 45 to start. I don't like pushing timber in and then discover halfway through that it's got thicker halfway through. So we'll start at 45.0. Now it may take nothing off in this pass, but it's always a good idea to do this as kind of an insurance so you don't destroy anything. These on again. The first pass I will do from this side. I'll move the camera around to the other side for the second pass. Okay, she's running. Now, look at how cranky all of this is. It's a stinker. Looking down the side to see which way the grain's running. Well, it's going all over the place. But, you know what, I think I'm going to feed it in this way. Here we go. All right, that was the first. That's not too bad. We'll drop it down another millimetre, take it down to 44. I'll bring this camera up to the other end. So you can see it coming out. Just check the vision's all good. All right. And we went in that way, I think. Second pass, another millimetre off. Look at it all coming here. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? People have asked me what I think about this machine. Well, there you go. That's my answer. A little bit more. I love it. Look at this. So there you go. That's not bad. I'm going to take it down a little bit more, but I need to get it down. I'll give it one more pass, and then I've got to take some off the other side, because you can't just take it off one side all the time. The reason being, there's all these different things, all these forces that are acting on that piece of timber from inside, internally, stresses and what have you. Kind of 42 is fine. And if you take too much off one side, you're going to lose the balance that's in there. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I just get so excited when I see it come out the other side. Beautiful. All right, so that's fully thicknessed and flat now. That's just beautiful all the way through. Now I'm going to tip her over and go from the other side. Let's go this way. Remember, this is the other face. This is the face that we ran over the jointer to start with. There we go, turn her off. I'll come back up here. And to this one. So what do you think of that? The beginning of the first feed, no, that was just getting a hold. The front roller, the in-feed roller, is a serrated steel roller. And sometimes if I have, when the board's going in, if it's tipped up a little bit, so let's say that this is the table going in, if it's tipped up a little bit, you'll hear the roller go on this, pushing it down, then it grabs and away it goes. That's all that is. I need to give these a quick clean. Alrighty. It handles the knots beautifully. Now I'm going to blatantly tell you, I have a link for that machine in the description box below the video. I've had all sorts of machines, and this one is my favorite. Absolutely beautiful. And it's not a screamer. It's not a screamer at all. Now, this is dead flat. You can see right along here, there's no rock. It's just sitting perfectly. So the next thing we're going to do is flatten this one. Now, if you only have a thickness planer, you can use what's called a sled. Now, I'm going to use that piece of wood that we've just flattened as a sled. Hear this? Not good. I want to flatten it. Now, if I don't have a jointer and I've got some really flat plywood with a brace of whatever underneath, maybe I can get some really straight 4x2 or 100 by 50, whatever, and screw it to a piece of plywood, then I can have that sled to put other pieces of wood on top of. Now, I don't advise you to do this if it's a really long piece of timber. You know, there's limits to what you can do. Yeah, this will do 260. It's a 10-inch machine. This is 240 odd, I think it is. So what I'm going to do is drill some holes in the end of this board, either end, both ends I should say. I say either an awful lot of time. Does anyone do that? I should be saying both ends, but it's just a habit. I don't know why I say it. All right, now, where are we? That's rocking there. I want to hold it down there. Now let me see. I'm going to put a screw in the end. So I'm going to drill it here. Come on, you can do it. Told you it's cranky old wood. And another one here. And you're probably all panicking, saying, Dave, you're going to drill into that really nice timber. Well, it's not going to be an issue, because that really nice timber, the ends of it are going to be cut off. Okay, I have 4 holes in there. Next thing I'm going to do is shim it. Now you may have seen Andrew Klein on Instagram the other day use some instant glue, super glue, and the accelerator, and that's fine if your timber's dressed. He glued a couple of little pieces on to take out the twist and the unevenness. As I say, it's fine if it's dressed timber. If it's rough sawn or daggy like this is, your super glue is not going to grab. That's why I use screws. We're putting it through a machine. I do not want this piece of timber to come away from this halfway through there. It could be ugly. How much snipe are you getting when the weight of the board hangs out the outfeed table on the finish of that cut? Well, glad you asked the question. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Because I don't think there's any. It's such a strong machine. Let's move that over there. And let's get my straight edge. I thought to myself this morning, don't do things that you haven't gone through to check that's going to work. And I had that problem this morning. So let's have a look. You tell me. Actually, we'll get the other camera and aim it straight at it. In nice and close. So we can see. Camera 3. All right, I'm going to hold that up a little bit. Now I can't see any snipe there. There's no rocking. And we'll go to the other end. And we'll put that on there. Can you see any snipe there? Nothing. Flip her over. Nothing. No snipe. And at the other end, it's exactly the same. So, what do you think? It's a great machine. John, you got a 5x5 coming, have you? Well, we're going to do the CNC in a minute, but I wanted to do this first, just so you can see what's happening. We had Cole there. He hasn't got his show happening at the moment, so we have to look after these people. I'm a bit cheeky, aren't I? All right, now that we've got this board here, we can pop that on there. And what I was getting at before we answered Cole was these are my shims. You can buy these in a packet, and they're really, really handy, especially because they break apart, with this camera here, and they've got little countersink holes and everything, and you can screw them to the underside of cabinets to level up, and all. They're great. I love them. They're all different thicknesses, so what I'm going to do is go with 2 red ones, I think, because it's not a huge twist. Yep, there's a red one there and a red one. Let's go to the other camera. Okay, so I've got this shim there. I'll slide that in, and then there's really no wobble there. If there is, it's minimal. Now, I'm going to put a couple of screws in. Cool, that'll work. Take that back to 1 and a screw here. Turn the clutch off so it really gets a grip. That's better. Another screw at this end as well. You can't see what's happening, sorry about that. Good. I'll put another screw in here. Okay, that is going to hold. Okay, so this is how you do it if you don't have a jointer. If you've just got a thickness planer, I don't know, there's a lot of people out there, that's it. There's a little bit more there. I'm not overly happy with that. Let's do a little bit more. There, that's better. Yep, that's much better. Tighten him up again. Come on, come on, come on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the screw in. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. So with this a little bit closer. See how I've got that red shim there? We're going to move that just out of the way. I'm going to slide this underneath where this actually is. And then put the screw right through it. Push it in with a screwdriver. And then we'll know it's not going to go anywhere. Gotcha. Yep, done. All right. That's looking great. Back to the other camera. Let you off, mate. G'day, John. How are you, buddy? All right. I'm going to bring that down to here so we can see what's happening. I need to measure the thickness of this. I'll do that down there. I'll switch the cameras around. Tip it up just a little bit. And then we'll move on to the CNC after we've sorted this piece of wood out. So not using a jointer at all, we're going to be using my machine as a planer only. Thickness plane. That has come loose. This is where I keep it real. Back this out. Yep, that's going to do it. All right, measuring the thickest part is 91 millimeters. So I'm going to make it, I'm going to take it up to I'll go to 89. And see how we go. Fingers crossed. It's a fair bit heavier. So you can see, when I get around the corner here, you can see how it's taking the diagonal off that corner. That's going to get rid of all of that rock, and it's just been straight at the other end. We'll take it down another millimetre. Um, 88. Lock in there. Hear that noise? That was it just grabbing with the power feed. Look at that. Again, you can see how it's coming along. Nearly there. Another millimetre. '87. This way. Look at this. I love it. Morning, Laura. So, I will get the screwdriver and take it off, and you can have a look at how it's nice and flat. So now, at this stage now, I just flip it over and run it through the machine again as a thickness planner, and it'll be flat. It'll be interesting to see how it's come up. All right, move it out of the way. Move my shims. Remember, that was about 2 millimetres. That one ended up being about 3 millimetres. This is my surfaced, isn't it, a beautiful timber? And let's see if it's flat. It's not rocking. Perfect. All right, so I don't need to go through the rest of the process where I would now put this through the thicknesser with this on the bottom and this where the blades would be cutting. And that would do that perfectly. All right. How are we doing for time? Plenty of time. You remember what it looked like when we first started, don't you? Was that on the front end? No, it wasn't, Robert. Howdy, all nice and toasty in workshop. Finished the door. What? You should see Jeremy's door. He's made one of these barn doors that roll along. Made a steel frame, and he's got a whole heap of pallets. I don't know where he got them from. And he's done diagonal slats, and it looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Quick drink. I did say I was going to show you Paul's project, and it's going to be worthwhile watching. Let me come down to here. Hi, Dave. This is Paul Mumford. He's probably in the audience watching. I hope this finds you safe in these unusual times. This little box is my latest project. It has a number of unusual design features you may find interesting. Do you like it? So it is made primarily from Australian red cedar, recycled from an old drawing cabinet, front with the kumiko in the lid, made from 3mm by 4mm Tasmanian oak. This particular kumiko design is called Asa no Ha. Let's go to the next one. There it is. So, all right, children, remember what it's called? Asa no Ha. ASA-NO-HA. And it's based on a square frame called jigumi, made using half-flat joints. Let's go to the next picture. There it is. There's the frame. The jigumi was made first and attached to the lid base, and then the mitered border and edges built around it. The remainder of the kumiko was then installed within the jigumi. The lid was then used to make a jig for the box itself. Where are we? There it is. The joinery for the box consists of sticks of wood that are screwed into the jig to form frames that are eventually glued together to form the box sides, with a box frame grooved to accept the rabbeted base. There's a lot of work in this box, isn't it amazing? Okay, so, and sides. Next one is there. There it is, all glued up. Amazing. Hence the box was fully constructed and glued. The heads of the brass screws were filed down. Let's get to this one. Below the slot and flush with surface of the timber. There's the corner raw, and the next one is with a finish, and he says the finish is blonde shellac and polished with cabinet maker's wax applied with 4-0 steel wool. And there it is again. How nice is that? Paul, you're a bloody talent. It's very, 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 very nice. All right, back to the main event. So, wasn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. I'm just having a quick read down through here. I don't know if Paul's still there. He might have nicked off. You probably went too early, Paul. No, Paul, you can chime in and say, yes, wave to the fans. All right, there you go, he's back. All right, now I'm going to move the camera over to the CNC. And I guess a few people are going to start turning off now. That's fine. If CNC isn't your thing, that's fine. This is not just full-on CNC work. This is a way that I'm going to flatten this. And the reason I'm using this one is because this piece of wood is 2.6 meters long. And I'm not going to put a 2.6 meter through that machine on my own. All right, camera 3. You can see we've got the setup out there. I'll take these guys with me. And you may, I see, I haven't seen the background, limitations on size equipment software would be awesome, as your spin on things is always pretty cool. Yeah, we might do something like that. I might do something like that. All right, let me come out here and we'll see if I can't destroy this piece of wood. All right. Now, the wood is actually going past the end of my spoil board down the end, and that's fine. You'll see also I've put chocks under the twist. Now this has got a twist of around about maybe 5/8 of an inch, 16 millimeters total from end to end, diagonally. This one to the far end over there. So I've got it sat down here, it's locked in. I have a cam clamp that John made for me there. I've got his dogs here, and I prefer to use the plastic dogs that John makes because they don't cause the CNC any grief if I hit them. There's just a standard Festool one there. You can see the twist here. Now that's a lot to get rid of. So move that. So this machine, I make no excuses for it, does a great job. Now, I'm going to take these off because I end up shouting when I wear them. I've got a 3/8 spiral up cutter in there at the moment. And I'm going to touch off on this corner. So this is the touch plate that I used the other week. So you all know what that does. And I'll move the machine across a little bit and back that way. And what I'm going to do now, as I said, I'm going to touch it off. It's going to come down and touch the plate, come back up, then I'm going to make it go over and touch that side, then it's going to come across this corner, and that will tell me where that corner is. Just make sure you can still see all of that, and you can. All right, Auto Z, left and right, bottom left corner, I should say. Touch, and it waits a second, and it'll pop back up again. Give it a sec. It's having a think. There we go. Okay. And then enter, and it's going to go the other direction, going down the y-axis. It's going to come back to the center. Now it's going to do over to the side on the x-axis. So it knows all the dimensions of this block, and it's taking that into account. So what's happening here is it's completing an electrical circuit. Every time this touches that metal body, this metal thing here that's magnetized, it completes the circuit and does a calculation and says, right, I know where I'm at. Now, because I'm going to use a surface cutter, what I'm going to do is take this cutter out and put another cutter in. I just wanted to get the center of the spindle over that. All right. Now, the surface cutter I use, when I find it, is this guy. Okay, it's a good size. I think it's about 2 inches diameter for the cutters themselves. 2 inches from this, like it's 1 inch from the center out to the tip of the cutter. So let's take this out. I have the variable frequency drive which runs the spindle. It's actually turned off at the moment. So this thing can't start up if I accidentally bump anything. That's not going to happen. So that's my spiral up cutter, which is absolutely beautiful. And this is the Amana tool. You see that? With that in there, that's the K line. We slide it up until it touches that K line. And also I've got someone wants to watch and see how my dust extraction works at the top with the hose connected. So I will show that a little bit as we're going as well. I always make sure that's nice and tight because that's a big cutter and I would not like that to come out of the machine while it's going and fly around the room and chase me. All right, now I'm going to create a 0 over here. Now I'm not going to use the touch plate because this is off at an angle. I'll use the touch plate on the next pass. I'm going to do a 3mm pass with this. So what I'll do is I'll close that on the screen. I'm going to drag her over a little and then I'm going to say page down and I'm going to rotate this. So this particular cutter, this one here, is going to touch just here. Back a touch, page down a bit. That's good. All right, now you can have a look here and see that it says 0Z, I don't know if you can see it or not, is -9. I'm going to tell it to 0Z at that point. My X and my Y are correct. It's 219mm away from this corner at the moment. So I'm going to say, instead of -9, I'm going to say to 0 that. Now it says that's 0. It's not going to go down any lower. But when I turn the machine on, it's going to come down 3mm and do a pass. So it's going to go all the way. Whoop, I should be actually showing you what's happening. It's going to go all the way down. It's going to go down the middle, around and around and around. And then it's going to be taking the tops off. So in the middle it may be doing nothing, and then when it comes back to here, it will have done stuff. So that's not going to go anywhere. I've told it where it is. I can say page up now, get the thing up out of the way. I will be using the dust hood because it's going to throw a lot of dust all over the place. So we say good night to this, lock him in there. And now, the things I have to do. I need to check that we're in metric. This is the G code, and it says here, flattened cypress, 3-wing cutter, 50 millimeters. I built all this morning. And this is the path it's going to take. Now I need to turn on the variable frequency drive. Okay. Now that means that this guy here is now activated. It will start up when I want it to. I'll turn the dust extractor on. And I'll put the eye muffs on. I'll come back just a little bit. Let's see how we are there. Yeah, you should be able to see everything from there. All right, I read through my checklist every time. So my X, Y, and Z is all touched off. The diameter is fine. Touched off the Z, which I did manually. The job is secure. Fit the dust boot. We'll just check the speed here on that. It's 18,000 RPM on this particular cutter. Turn on the dust extractor, VFD, cycle start, which is this one. You ready? You might want to turn the sound down. So now it's not cutting anything. It hasn't touched anything yet. We'll see how it goes down the other end. But that is 3 millimeters below that point. Now we'll start the cut. Nope, not yet. So it started off in the middle. So it's doing the middle and it's going to work out from there. It's going to be around about, I don't know, 4 passes and it'll be done. It's the same principle I did with the other machine, with the thickness planer. I don't want to stress the machine. Okay, there's our first cut. I'll come back into the other room while it's doing this and have a bit of a read. It's a 3-horse machine, the Robert. Okay, Paul, see you later. Okay, when it comes back down here, it's going to do another bit of a cut in. And it does these dog bone movements at the end. You watch. See that? Let's just grab a little bit more of that. I could probably pick the speed up a little bit, but I'm going to leave it alone for the moment. Have another bit of a drink. David, I did a video on how I set the jointer up. I spent half an hour on it out of the box, just needed the tiniest of adjustments. And as I said, I did a video on how to do it. And it works really easy. Okay, this might be the last pass. Let's have a look. I think it is the last pass. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn the VFD off. And the dusty. Okay, it stopped spinning, of course. That's always a good idea. Now, I'm going to take this over to this corner and touch off the Z again. So razor up and across. Now the other thing I could do is manually enter it, but I'm not going to. Back a little and across, and I'll show you how I'm going to touch it off this time. I'm going to turn the touch plate upside down. So the touch plate has got this surface and it's got this surface. Now this one is for hooking onto a corner, like that. This side is just for outright flatness. So I'm going to put that there, put this on there, and I'm going to lower the touch plate down so that cutter touches there. But to do that, I'll spin this around this way. I'm going to go to the Auto Z again, and I'm just going to say center. So now it's coming down, and that cutter should touch, and that will be it. Cool. And we'll close that. And I'm going to bring the cutter down and see if it's actually telling me the truth. That's looking pretty good. Where are we? Yep. All right. This time what I might do is page up. I might speed it up as it's tracking around where it's not cutting anything. Make it a bit quicker for everyone. Put that back on. I can leave it where it is. It knows where it is. It's going to go back to 0, X and Y, 20 millimeters above before it starts. Turn the variable frequency drive back on. And the dusty. All right. We're in metric still, which is very important. Everything else is good. Read all that. Spin this around. Cycle start down here. Lovely. Let's down that extra bit. Okay, we're going to punch the speed up. I've just increased it by 25%. Okay, now, Gary, up there you can see what's happening with the dust extraction. It's a 4-inch pipe coming across from the dusty, and I'll tip it up just a little bit more. Now at the right at the top there on the machine, you can see where the dust pipe is strapped onto that piece of timber, that's in turn strapped onto this spindle. There's a rockler swivel port basically there. That's a rotating port, 360 degrees, and that stops the hose kinking. So it saves a lot of mucking around. You see it goes to the edge as far as it wants. Setting up the cut path once I got it through my head. Ash took 4 minutes if that. Yeah, I just make sure that I don't push it too fast. So you can see that it's a rotating port, and it works brilliantly. So I can get to all 4 corners of the job with ease. All right, let's have a look at how the job's going. Well, I hope that answers it for you, Gary. I think it's got one more. Oh, it might be the last pass. Let's see. Might have one more to go. Nope, that's it. All right, turn the VFD off again. And page up, raise her up. Take her across. And page down. And I'm going to just do it manually this time. That's 0 there. It's 2.789. It's actually after 3 there, but this will be fine. I'll 0 that. So that one is 0 now. Page up. And put the hood back on. One way round. No, it wasn't. That's got it. All right. Variable frequency drive back on. Go again. All good. All good. Cycle start. Here we go. You can hear it now. What a machine. And there's the dog bone. That'll, see that? That's why they say it's called the dog bone on the end. It'll do that all the way through until it gets to the end, and then the last time it'll be inside. It'll do a dog bone down there in a second. Yep. It's a lovely cutter. Absolutely beautiful. What a finish. Oh, this is beautiful. should have had my eye protection down. I could watch this thing go all day. You see any dust? Nearly done. Got one more pass to go. Beautiful. All right. I'll come back out here. Where are we? Other camera. Have a quick read. I'm using a 2 horsepower, 1200 cubic feet per minute dust extractor, but I don't have any filters on it. I'm running it through a cyclone and then expels out through a 6-inch line outside. So I'm not breathing the air back in again. All of that dust is being separated, and then whatever's left just go. I'm on acres, so it doesn't matter. I'm getting around 3,500 cubic feet a minute through my machine from what I've measured. That's the advantage of not having a filter on it. G'day Chris, how are you? Showing the CNC in action, Dave. Excellent dust collection. That most of Western half. Very interested in making a router sled. Okay, so what happens? That's one of the other methods, and we'll finish up in a second. Is a lot of people will also get a piece of timber and they'll screw it down. Now remember how I screwed that piece of timber down, this one here. I'm pointing to stuff that you can't even see. These two pieces to each other. I'd screw one down to a base, and then you can get a couple of pieces of straight timber, maybe 70 by 50, something like that, 3-inch by 2-inch, whatever, and you screw them to your base, your firm base, and the top of them, if they're dead level and parallel and all that kind of stuff, then you can make what's called a sled. And the sled fits over the top of those two pieces of timber, and it has a slot down the center for a handheld router to go into. And you just traverse across using the router, and it will slide, the router sled will slide along as you position it. Now it's a good idea to clamp it down before you start sliding across, because if it gets a grip, you don't want all sorts of things to move. You need your safety factors there as well. Now the other thing, of course, is to be able to just put a piece of timber on a piece of my bench. Obviously I'm going to promote that. And then you use winding sticks. Now a winding stick is a piece of wood, that's all it is, and you put one on one end of the piece that you're going to plane and one on the other, and the whole thing is to make sure they don't do this kind of thing. You want them to end up parallel. So you put them on, have a look, take them off. You plane the side that's going up past horizontal or the edge, and you do it on the other corner as well. Put your winding sticks back on again and slowly keep on planing the whole thing until it's dead flat. You'll put your winding sticks along, and also you can sight over the top of the winding sticks to see if not only this thing is working properly, but also there's no highs or lows in the middle. Normally have 3 sticks, and away you go. All right, I'll have a quick read down here. I think there's a way to correct the warp of the wood board by exposing to water vapor for a certain period. No, that's cupping. That's not warp. A warp is basically a twist. A cup is this way in the board, and that you can change by moisture. So a cup, just quickly, if it's cupping this way, that means the fibres on this side of the timber are dry. The ones on the other side are wet, or they've got more moisture in them, so they're swollen. Remember, timber is organic. So the thing is, you either flip the board over so that the cup is this way, put it out in the sun for a while, and it will dry the fibres out and it starts to flatten out. Or you can do, as you said, add water to the underside, but not too much. You know, I don't like introducing to it. I'd rather remove moisture from it. Now, when I've finished flattening that, the top, I'm not going to do that now. I might do it while the Patreon meeting's on. Whilst that's, when it's finished, I'll flip her over and I'll do it again with that CNC. The whole thing is to try and remove the same amount of material from both sides. Don't just take it all off one side, because what will happen then is you've exposed moisture content on the inside of the board that hasn't balanced, and you'll get cupping and all sorts of things, and it may start twisting as well. So that's the easiest way around it. Wood turning one week, Matthew. You never can tell, mate. You never can tell. Next week, we're going to get into this bloody big table. This is what we're preparing this wood for. All right. I think that's a lot. Thanks again to all of my patrons for supporting. I haven't got the list written down here, but the names will come up at the end of the show. These are people who have come in at a certain level. They've said, yeah, we'll look after you, Dave. And some people say, you don't need looking after. Well, I still like to eat food, you know what I mean? And I've got lots of toys, but it's nice to be able to put some food on the table as well. All right, I think that's it. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week. Bye.